Building is one of my favourite things to do in Minecraft, so here are some build ideas that you can add into your worlds. Starting with a simple chicken pen. This is built out of trapdoors, as if you place them properly on a block, it means mobs can't actually jump over them, which is pretty cool. So if I get some seeds out quickly, all these chickens will be attracted to me, but they can't actually jump over the trapdoors, which makes a great way to contain mobs. And this doesn't just work with chickens. If I place a cow in here and get it attracted to the wheat, you can see it won't climb over. And that means you can also trap villagers inside, although if you are building this in a village, be careful as you may end up losing some villagers as he's completely unable to get out. Here's a cool little design you can add inside of a chicken pen though, simply using some trapdoors, and then a railway for a little chicken just to sit inside. In fact, we can just spawn one in there, and I believe they can just go in and out of it. Here are some more designs you can use for actual animal pens. So I just do this simple stone and andesite wall around it, not too tall as I don't really want it to sort of be a massive build. It's just something very simple you can look over without the mobs being able to escape. On the inside you could use spruce trapdoors or any type of trapdoor really, add some hay bales for food, and you could also add a little trough of water as well for the animals to drink, make it a little bit realistic I guess. And then you could also add some trees inside of the animal pens, which is something I've started doing recently. I think it just helps to add even more detail. And I mean, technically it gives the animals a place to hide when it's really sunny, so they have a little bit of shade. Then obviously you can add just normal decorations like flowers, grass and bushes inside as well. Although make sure you have tick speed on, otherwise your grass will never grow back. Speaking of sheep, here's a very simple sheep farm you can build to just get infinite wool. I actually built this recently on my hardcore world. All you really need to do is have an observer facing into this block here, which remains grass until the sheep eats it, turning it to dirt, and then it activates with this piece of redstone a dispenser with shears in it, which will shear the sheep, get collected with his minecart hopper, and get you loads of wool. This is a very simple design, but it's one of my favorites just to add throughout my world. Simply a decorated pot with an azalea leaf on top. It just looks really nice as a little plant. It doesn't just have to be azalea leaves though, as you could use other types of leaves, like I've used a pale leaf here as well, which I think looks really nice. Another detail you could add to your houses is just hanging roots on the inside. I think that just helps to add even more detail. And on the exterior of builds, you can do glowberries for some light, as well as hanging roots, hanging signs, as well as this brand new pale hanging moss, which is a really cool decoration. Just wish we had a green form of it, just for extra detail. Another cool design you could do is start adding moss and like grass blocks into your roofs. That way you can put like bits of short grass or bushes on top for extra detail and like sort of foliage. And then you can block it off with signs for some extra sort of detail, just so you can't see all of the dirt block. Here's a really cool trick you can add onto the top of a fence, simply just using a brown candle. I think that looks really well with the spruce ones. I mean, obviously you can add your lanterns onto the fences as well. I'm really looking forward to all of the new copper lanterns. It's just going to make my build so much better. Here's another cool sort of water trough design you could do, even just adding it through the village, I guess. And then I've added some seagrass and sea pickles inside, one for a bit of light and just for some more animation in the area. I actually did the same over here with this fountain design, which is going to be in an upcoming video, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. And it just has some grass on the inside, some mud and muddy mangrove roots. Some of the best blocks in the game, honestly. They look really nice. And a bit of advice for if you're building in creative mode: set different areas to different biomes. For example, I was planning to build part of this village in a savanna, so I've set this biome into a savanna so you can see what different blocks will look like. So I now know this is what a bush looks like in a savanna, this is what mangrove and azalea leaves and whatever looks like in a savanna. It just helps so you know properly what you're going to add to your world. Speaking of, here are some cool trees you can add. Simply just bone mealing an acacia sapling, replacing the logs with oak logs, then adding some fences and stairs for more detail. Then you can replace some of the leaves with oak leaves and then keep some azalea leaves, just for a really cool tree design, with loads of falling leaves apparently. And then underneath you could obviously add the really cool leaf litter block in. And if you were decorating like a plains area, you could definitely build some boulders. Here I've got some tough ones, and then over here somewhere are some stone ones. Honestly, stone's a bit better for this because you get blocks like the buttons and the pressure plates. Here's another water design I've done. This time I've added soul sand on the inside just for some really cool animation with the bubbles. And then I've also added a lever here with some chains going into the water. Maybe it's to draw out some water. I don't really know what it's for. I just think it looks really cool. A cool trick you could do is having window shutters made out of trapdoors. And then you can place them just on the side of a block. Or you can extend them out as if they're sort of folded open. And then you could add signs on the inside of it just for some extra detail. I actually don't know if I've shown off this build before, but it's a simple market stand design using some different colours wool and banners, which I think is a really cool detail. And it actually is perfect for a villager just to sit in, add a workstation, and then add a chest for you to just put your emeralds and stuff in, I guess. And another trick I would use is just adding a trapdoor above so the villager is unable to escape. This next one isn't necessarily a build idea, but I definitely recommend you building it in your multiplayer world, as you can simply put a mob head on top of a note block to play the mob sound. So we've got zombie, creeper, piglin, ender dragon, skeleton, and wither skeleton. And honestly, this would just be such a good prank. I'm surprised I haven't seen this more. Like, you can simply walk over a pressure plate with a creeper head on top of a note block, and you can terrify your friends. If you're building sort of a more destroyed world, you could do this, where you add some mangrove roots as sort of burnt logs or leaves, and obviously mixing in coarse dirt, leaf litter, and dead bushes, as well as skull blocks, and the brand new dried grass, which I think looks really good, especially because if you place it down, it looks a bit like sort of a shoulder bones of a person, and then their head. I just think that's a cool detail, as well as the little particles that come off the dried grass as well. It's just an extra nice detail. And then this is what the dried grass would look like in a Soul Sand Valley sort of area, with bone blocks, soul fire. I think the dried grass actually fits in quite well here. And you could also add bones onto the floor. Bonus points if you do have an item frame data pack enabled, so you can just simply share an item frame. One of my favorite data packs, honestly. And it's a feature I'd love to see in the vanilla game. You just put an item in an item frame and just share it. And you simply have an invisible item frame. Just wish this was in vanilla Minecraft, as it would be so good for detail. Quickly flying past these lightning rods makes me really excited for the brand new lightning rods we'll be getting in the next update. And obviously I'll have some build ideas for the new update once it fully releases. So if that sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe. Next we have this really cool sand castle design, simply using some sandstone blocks and then a sandstone stair just for extra detail. Add some sandstone walls on top, and then you could add some little candles or something just for some extra detail. I think that ends up looking quite nice. I mean, here's a really cool cannon design. I believe I saw this on TikTok at some point. Simply using some polished deep slate, some spruce stairs, trapdoors, oak trapdoors as for wheels, and then a little lever on the back. It doesn't work or anything, but it's a really cool design nonetheless. Here's a cool build you could add on to a building in your world, just like a big deer or moose head. Although I feel like this design may be a bit too big, so you could always do this simple design, or even just that design, although I think it looks a bit better right next to the stair block. I think that's a cool design just to add to like a big wall in your house. Here's a fun trampoline design, simply using some concrete with some carpet blocks with slime blocks below it, and it works as well, which is a really cool thing to add into your Minecraft world. Now credit to the YouTuber Wombat for this next idea, but using an invisible item frame once again, you could add a birch trapdoor into it to look like a shelf mushroom. I just think that's a really cool detail. I guess you could use a regular trapdoor as well, but I feel like it's a bit too big, and I think in the item frame it looks really good. So it's a really cool design, and I definitely recommend using it. I feel like not many people know this, but as of Minecraft 1.20.1.7 for Java Edition, we got a brand new painting, which is simply Dennis from the Minecraft movie. It's just a giant wolf, but definitely worth adding to your world as well, in case you like collecting paintings, as I feel like this sort of got missed by loads of people. Now here is one of my favorite Minecraft blocks, which is sort of like the mushroom spore block. It's simply obtained if you get a mushroom block. You sort of then have to place mushroom blocks all around it like this, and then remove it, and then you get this hidden texture. It's just such a good block. I just wish we could obtain it by like stripping a mushroom block with an axe or something. It ends up looking really nice and would be a great way to detail a build. Here's a cool grain silo design by a YouTuber called Eagle. I found it in one of his videos and it ends up looking really nice. Would be great to add somewhere, just using some tough sort of outlines with different wood sort of going up in a gradient from the jungle right at the bottom all the way to the birch at the top. And here's a new field design I came up with, simply using oak leaves and acacia leaves on the outside, and then doing some farmland with mangrove propagules on top, which looks really good. Although you do have to add string blocks on top of every single one, or else you'll get loads of mangrove trees spawning in, which is probably not great for a field design. Then another trick you can actually do is add a lily pad on top of a waterlogged mangrove root. That's another really cool design you could do. But there we go, these were loads of build ideas that I recommend adding into your Minecraft world. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe and let me know any build ideas you have in the comments down below.